Good morning. So we've got a quick flow today. Um, and I was inspired by a podcast I listened to recently. There's a professor of neurobiology from Stanford named Andrew Huberman, and he just started a podcast, which is really fascinating to listen to how our brains work. And I recently listened to an episode where he talked about adult learning and neuroplasticity, that our brains can learn and develop new connections and as adults, but it's not the same for us as children. We have to have just the right cocktail of chemicals in our brain for our brain to realize, oh, this is something novel that I need to remember or cement or create some connections around. And one of the things that was really interesting to me that really helps set the stage for adult learning is when we activate our vestibular system. So when we play with balance and when we get ourselves off balance, and it signals to our cerebellum and our brain that we need, like that our brain needs to pay attention to what's going on to keep us upright. And so we're just going to play with balance today. He talked about how doing something that plays with your balance and where you feel like maybe you're going to fall out of it, that really signals that to your brain that it's time to cement some new things. But then that environment in your brain stays for a while after. And so it's good to do some yoga or something that plays with your balance before you sit down to learn something, because that environment of learning and neuroplasticity stays in your brain for a while. So I thought that was kind of cool. One of the cool things about yoga that primes us for continuing evolution in everything. We're going to start on our backs. I think I'm going to turn this way today. So lay down on your back and knees bent, feet flat on the floor like you would for a bridge. You can bring one hand to your belly, one hand to your heart. And just rock your head from side to side a little bit. Feel your body breathe. Feel the connection of every part of your body that's touching the floor. See if you can notice the texture and the pressure. And let your head get still. Release your hands by your sides. We'll do some slow sequential bridge. So really push down your lower back, lift your tailbone. One vertebrae at a time. See if you can lift your spine this morning. So I'm just going back a bit with those lower vertebrae, my little, before I lift. So you play with your spine. You can have your eyes opened or closed, but really take this opportunity to pay attention. So we're just waking up our core and also just feeling that massage of the floor on your back. Noticing how the pressure in your feet needs to change for different parts of your spine as you lift and lower. And just really go at your own pace in a way that you can articulate and experiment here. Notice what has to happen in your lower and in the backs of your legs. Let's just do one more. Lift and lower. When your pelvis gets down, just float your legs up, your feet up off the floor and reach your arms toward the ceiling. We're just going to shake. So you're kind of in this dead bug. Shake your legs, shake your arms, kind of loosen everything. You can let stuff jiggle. And then find a bend in your knees. We'll open that right leg and right arm toward the camera and then let yourself just roll all the way over. And now peel yourself open with the left arm and left leg and roll over to the other side. Go back and forth and feel this roll all along your body, the back of your shoulders, the back of your head, your pelvis. This kind of massaging feels good on my scalp. The next time we roll toward the front, lengthen through your left leg and just come on up to seated. So we're in this Janu Shirshasana shape. And just let yourself wave into a side bend. And then plant your hand and wave to the other side. And wave over this way. Maybe as you ground this right hand, you roll onto your right shin and lift. And just let yourself play with it in a way that kind of wakes things up. And feel that feedback from that pinky edge of your grounded hand up through your shoulder and back. And then we'll bring our left hand down, tuck your toes, and just make your way into a table. I'm going to crawl back onto my mat. Find just 1 or 2 rounds of kind of a slow cat and cow. Lift your sitting bones and your collarbones in your gaze. And then slowly tuck. And then as you drop your belly, lift your palms. Just keep your fingers on the floor. And then ground your palms. Find your round and your cat. Just lean back a slight bit and lift your hands. So keep your palms down, but then lift the rest of your hands. And just kind of cycle through cat and cow with wrist prep work. So you'll kind of lean back toward a child's pose, but not all the way. And then ground through your hands. Lengthen your left leg back and let it float up. Draw those low ribs in and feel stable in your shoulder. You can find some external rotation of this left arm and reach your right arm forward. Bend your left knee and just reach back with your right fingertips towards your heel. Maybe they touch. And then reach forward. And now bring your elbow towards your knee. And we'll just cycle through that. So try to keep that external rotation, that grounded arm. Keep your lower ribs in as you just reach and find elbow to knee. And then reach and find fingertips toward heel or sole of your foot. If you want to add a little bit of a core challenge, instead of bringing elbow to knee, you can bring your hand to the floor. As you bring this knee in, tuck your other toes and lift that knee up off the floor. So you can play with that. And then we'll just go back to that bend and tap of your heel. And then maybe bring your hand to the floor. Lift your grounded knee and bring your knee into your chest. Just play with this for another breath or so. And then ground. Walk your hands forward, find a puppy pose. And walk your hands back towards your knees. Cross your ankles. Sit back and bring your legs out in front of you. Scoot toward the middle. We'll just come back down onto our backs again. Let's do 2 or 3 of those slow sequential bridges. Notice the difference from your right side to your left. And then we'll find those dead bug rolls. Just reach your arms up and roll to your left. And then peel yourself open and roll to your right. Just back and forth. Next time you roll to your left, lengthen through that right leg and come on up to this Janu Shirshasana shape. And just wave into your side bend, ground your left hand, and lengthen through your right side. Just let yourself wave and explore here. If you want to ground through this hand and rock onto your left shin, and play with that. And the next time we come over to the left, just bring your right hand down and come into your table. And just a couple of those cat-cow. So round your spine, hips toward heels but not all the way, and then lift your hands. And then rock forward. You can drop your heart and lift your palms. So keep those wrists grounded as you round and lean back and lift your fingers straight up. And then let your belly sink, lift your palms. Find a neutral table. So draw those low ribs in. Lengthen your right leg forward, left arm. Bend that right knee and just reach back with your left hand, maybe tap. And then reach forward, elbow to knee. And just cycle through this here. And just moving, waving that arm, and bending that leg. Getting familiar with your balance. And then if you want to play with that core challenge, instead of elbow to knee, bring your hand down, tuck your left toes as you bring that right knee into your chest. And play with that a few times. Otherwise, you can just do your elbow to knee. I think that's enough. One more tap. And then bring your hands down. Walk your hands forward. Just a footprint, tuck your toes. And lift yourself up and back into downward facing dog. And shake your head no. Nod your head yes. Kind of resist your forearms toward each other. Soften your low ribs in. Soften through your knees. And then lift your toes. Kind of light up the fronts of your ankles and your shins. Push your inner thighs back. And then you can drop your heels toward the floor. Release your feet, your toes. And walk your hands back towards your feet. And find a standing forward fold here with soft knees. Inhale, halfway lift, and then exhale to fold. Inhale, one more halfway lift. Exhale, fold. And then we'll come all the way to standing. Reach high. And then exhale, hands to your heart. Just float your left knee up and ground through that right foot. And then swing it back and just find that tap of, and this time it won't be opposite. We'll just do left hand, left heel to tap. And just swing and tap. And then take some steps, some buoyant steps, and then swing to tap that heel behind you. And let yourself throw your balance off. Play with where you step. So we're kind of doing an active dancer a little bit. But let your body have to catch your balance. And then we'll step that left foot forward, right in line with your right foot. And then come down into your tandem kneel. So you've got left foot, right knee, right shin, heel, toes, all in a line. And bring your arms to a cactus and just play with twisting here. And twist to your right, and twist to your left. And then release your arms. Float that left heel up off the floor. And then float your left toes up off the floor. And then swing that leg around slowly. So you can bring your shin down next to your right shin. Tuck your toes. And then externally rotate your arms so your palms face out. And then internally rotate. Just play with that a few times. Find that external rotation and feel that engagement through your back body, breath through your chest, and then internally rotate. Find your external rotation again. And then plank yourself back. Maybe bring your hands to your sacrum or to your heels and find a little bit of a camel, just briefly. Come on up. Sit your bum down on your heels and bring your hands to your heart or hands to the floor. We'll float our knees up. Just come into this little toe balance. And then try to keep your heels lifted. Come all the way to standing on your tippy toes. And then ground your heels down. Bring your weight into your left foot, right knee up. And then just swing back and find that little tap and reach. And, it's a little baby dancer. And then add those steps. So step your right foot forward and then step back. Swing it back to tap your heel. And step all over in different places. And bounce up so that you have to catch your balance with your grounded leg. And then we'll step that right foot forward in line with your left. Bend both knees. So that right foot, left knee, shin, ankle, toes, they're all in a line. Bring your arms to your cactus and just play with twisting. It might even be really good to close your eyes and play with doing this with your eyes closed. That'll really tell that vestibular system right? You're not getting the feedback from your eyes, so it's got to figure out your balance in a different way. And then release your arms. Float your heel up off the floor. Ground down into that left shin. Float your toes and slowly bring this right leg around till you come to your standing kneel. Tuck your toes. Externally rotate your upper arms. And then find some length through your sacrum. Just plank yourself back. And then you can bring your hands to your sacrum or to heels. And then let your pelvis come forward. So your hips are stacked over your knees, but you're lengthening through your lower back. One more breath. And then come on out. Sit down on your heels with tucked toes. Fingertips to the floor to help you come up, or you can just float your knees up. And then from there, see if you can keep your heels lifted. Come all the way to standing on your tippy toes. And then go ahead and drop your heels down. Ground through your right foot. Bend your left knee and then reach back with your left hand for your outer foot or ankle. You're going to reach your right arm up and then resist your foot into your hand, hand into your foot, and come into a dancer pose, Natarajasana. So lengthen through your lower back. And try to keep that left knee not swinging out, but just pointed toward the floor. And maybe switch your grip. So if you're grabbing your outer foot, see if you can creep your hand around to grab your inner foot. And then smoothly with control, come to balance with your left knee up into your chest. And then step a big step forward into a high lunge. Reach your arms high. Ground into that right big toe. Ball mound. Engage through that right glute. Get a nice clearing there. And then bring your hands to the floor. Tuck those back toes, and we're just going to move into kind of an active pigeon. So you'll take your left heel over to the right. Bring your left shin to the floor and right knee down. And you can untuck or keep those back toes tucked. Now feel like you're squeezing your knees toward each other and bring your torso upright. So we're not really sinking down through our hips. We're drawing those knees toward each other. You can find your balance here. If it feels available, you can bend that back knee and reach for that foot. Maybe reach your left arm up. And then release your hands. Bring your hands to the floor. Tuck those back toes and just step back into a downward facing dog. Pedal your legs out. Walk your hands back towards your feet. Find your standing forward fold. Inhale yourself all the way up to standing. Exhale, hands to your heart. Ground through that left foot. Bend your right knee and reach for your outer foot. So you're keeping your knees about hip distance apart. Your right knee is pointing straight down toward the floor. Then you can kick your foot into your hand to find a dancer, any amount. So you can lean forward. You can play with that kind of scale action here. Engage through that right glute to lift that leg up and back. And then maybe play with switching your grip. If you're holding the outer foot, you can play with holding the inner foot. And then we'll come up to standing with that knee into your chest. And take a big step forward to high lunge. And then reach. Just kind of recalibrate here. Bring your hands to the floor. Those back toes tucked and some weight in your hands. Just lift your right foot and bring your right shin to the floor. Setting up for that active pigeon. Left knee to the floor. You can have your toes tucked or untucked. And then feel like you're drawing this front knee and your back knee toward each other. And come upright. You can stay here, or you can bend through that back knee. Now, it'll feel better on your knee if you're more on your quad and not on the bony part of your knee when you're bending. You can reach for your foot, maybe reach up. And then release. Bring your hands down. Tuck those back toes. Find a downward facing dog. We've got one more back bend. Rock into plank. Lower yourself down to your belly. And then bring your hands back alongside your hips. Push into your pubic bone. Lift both legs, lift your head and chest, lift your arms. You can pause here. You can just do a shalabhasana like this. Or you can bend your knees, reach for your outer feet or ankles, and then really resist your feet into your hands into your feet to find Dhanurasana. Draw your big toes toward each other. And rock with your breath. And then release. Make a pillow for your forehead with your hands. Relax your legs and just kind of wiggle your bum from side to side. And then bend both knees and windshield wiper your legs from side to side. Release that. Look forward, bring your hands under your shoulders. Just push yourself up to a table and then back into child's pose. If you want to rest your forehead on stacked hands or stacked fists, just use this to really breathe into your back body. And lock your hands in. Just end with some easy twists. Shift your hips over to your left and just let your feet fall how they do. You'll just be on your outer left hip and then bring your right hand outside your left knee and twist over to your left. Unwind yourself and just shift over to the other side. Come onto that right hip. Bring your left hand outside your right knee and twist the other way. Unwind yourself. Find a comfortable cross-legged seat. You can sit on something. If you want to just bring your hands to your knees and steer your spine in circles. One direction and then the other. And do whatever final movements you feel like your body needs here. If you want a wide-legged forward fold, or even just a forward fold and Janu Shirshasana on each side. really listen to your body as to what would really complete your practice. And when you're done, find some stillness, either in a seat, or you can bring yourself back onto your back and lay in Shavasana. And I am going to leave you here and let you complete your practice. And maybe go try to learn something after you've played with your balance. The divine light in me honors the divine light in you. Namaste, friends. I hope you have a beautiful day.